From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, August 4th. Lawmakers across the country are mourning the tragic passing of Indiana Congresswoman Jackie Walorski. Walorski, her communications assistant Emma Thompson, St. Joseph County Republican Chair Zachary Potts, and a fourth person all died yesterday afternoon in Elkhart County, the same district she served. Police say a car crossed the center line on State Road 19 and hit the SUV Walorski and her staffers were in. Police say Edith Schmucker, the driver of the other vehicle, was also killed. Walorski served on the House Ways and Means Committee. She was first elected to represent Indiana's 2nd Congressional District in 2012. She served 6 years in the state legislature before that. Walorski was active on agriculture and food policy in Congress, often working across the aisle on those issues. She was viewed inside the House Republican Conference as someone who could one day ascend the ranks of GOP leadership. Indiana Republican Party Chairman Kyle Hupfer spoke with News 8's Phil Sanchez on last night's Unfiltered about how Walorski will be remembered.
Well, I think from those who had the privilege of working with her as I did, and I got the opportunity to introduce her on numerous occasions, I would always say that I look to her for an example of a fighter for what she believed in. And I think that's how she'll be remembered. I mean, she had so many causes that she was passionate about, but none more than the folks that lived in her congressional district.
We're also hearing from other Indiana lawmakers. Senators Mike Braun and Todd Young both addressed Walorski's death.
When I heard that, it's like the ultimate gut punch.
For one, I'm truly devastated. I know that Jackie loved the state of Indiana. She loved the Hoosiers throughout the state.
Former Vice President Mike Pence tweeted this about Walorski's death. Karen and I are heartbroken by the tragic passing of our dear friend, Representative Jackie Walorski. She served Indiana in the State House and the Congress with integrity and principle for nearly 2 decades and will be deeply missed. Governor Eric Holcomb called Walorski's passing devastating, saying, "At every level of public service, Jackie was known to be a positive force of nature, a patriot and a relentless policymaker with an unwavering loyalty to her constituents." Governor Holcomb is ordering flags in the state to be flown at half-staff in honor of Walorski until the date of her funeral, her burial. And flags at the Capitol will also be flown at half-staff. President Biden says he is shocked and saddened, writing, "We may have represented different parties and disagreed on many issues, but she was respected by members of both parties for her work on the House Ways and Means Committee on which she served. My team and I appreciated her partnership as we plan for a historic White House conference on hunger, nutrition, and health this fall that will be marked by her deep care for the needs of rural America." House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said, "A lifelong Hoosier, Congresswoman Walorski lived a life of service. She passionately brought the voices of her North Indiana constituents to the Congress, and she was admired by colleagues on both sides of the aisle for her personal kindness." We do have more coverage of the passing of Congresswoman Jackie Walorski online. You'll find the very latest information as it comes into the newsroom and reaction all across the country. That's at wishtv.com right now. And today, the full Indiana House is set to debate amendments to an abortion bill. It'll be the first open discussion since the referendum in Kansas, where voters in a similarly conservative state rejected a new abortion ban. We asked Indiana lawmakers if that decision will weigh on the conversation here. Republican State Representative Sharon Nagel said this.
We'll see. This is complicated, and this is a very polarizing subject matter. What we passed out of the Courts and Criminal Code certainly is not the final bill. We have a lot of discussion within our caucus going forward. I think it's important for us to take into consideration what did happen in Kansas. Absolutely.
State Senate Democrat Fadi Kadura contends the Kansas vote is a sign that Republicans are going too far.
They want to maintain constitutional rights for reproductive care in their state. And I think Indiana should follow suit. We should protect Hoosier women.
The Indiana House reconvened at 9 o'clock this morning for what representatives expect to be a very long debate. The Biden administration is now working out details of an executive order to secure abortion access. Biden signed the order yesterday from the White House residence, where he's isolating with a rebound case of COVID. The order lays the groundwork for Medicaid to help women travel between states to get an abortion. Right now, it's illegal to use federal funding to pay for abortions unless the woman's life is in danger or the pregnancy is a result of rape or incest. Biden says the executive order will also advance research and data collection. He says that will help evaluate the impact the reversal of Roe v. Wade is having on maternal health and other health conditions. IT-Mate is looking into the growing political tension with a major convention. The president of Gen Con says organizers will reconsider returning to Indianapolis if the state enacts a sweeping abortion ban. A new statement posted to the convention's social media says, "We at Gen Con believe in the right to autonomy over our bodies and the right to choose. Reproductive rights are human rights. Like many of you, we are hurt, angry, and frustrated by recent events." The convention starts today in Indianapolis, bringing tens of thousands of people and millions for the economy. The Gen Con is under contract until 2026. The office of Mayor Joe Hogsett sent us a statement saying for nearly 20 years, Gen Con has called Indianapolis home. We will uphold our agreement on hosting future Gen Con events and will work closely with organizers to ensure they know Indianapolis's commitment to being a welcoming place for all of their attendees. For now, there is a lot of fun to be had during Gen Con in downtown, ranging from traditional table games to the latest in virtual reality technology. Tickets are still available. You must wear a mask and have proof of vaccination to get into the events inside the convention center if you plan on going. The Secret Service says it may temporarily disable texting on employees' cell phones. The move is a response to revelations that the agency may have erased messages that members of Congress wanted to see as part of the January 6th investigation. The agency's director says a text suspension would be temporary as the Secret Service fixes gaps in how it handles and archives such messages. And the Justice Department is suing former White House trade advisor Peter Navarro. It's asking Navarro to turn over emails from a private account he used while working at the Trump White House. Prosecutors say between 200 and 250 of the emails sent on Navarro's private account should have been given to the National Archives. The suit claims Navarro did not respond when the archivist reached out. Navarro is facing separate contempt of Congress charges for defying a subpoena by the House committee investigating the insurrection. Services are set for Elwood police officer Noah Shanovez. He died Sunday when investigators say a man shot him to death at a traffic stop in Madison County. Visitation is from 2 to 7 tomorrow at I-Town Church in Fishers. The funeral is Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. A procession will then take his body to Indianapolis for burial at Crown Hill Cemetery. And the Greenwood Park Mall shooting and the man credited with stopping it are now part of the congressional record. Indiana's U.S. Senators Mike Braun and Todd Young introduced a resolution on the Senate floor yesterday denouncing the attack, honoring the victims, and praising actions of the armed civilian. In a statement, Braun says, Hoosiers are united in mourning for the victims of the senseless shooting at the Greenwood Mall and grateful for the heroic actions of the Good Samaritan that prevented the shooter from taking more lives. Young writes, as we condemn the shooting and continue to grieve the lives lost in this horrific incident, we're thankful for the quick actions taken by Eli Dicken and first responders. There is no doubt that Eli's bravery and decisive actions saved countless lives. The trial for the man accused of using a social media account to collect child porn is moved to next year. IT-Mate learned a Miami County judge agreed to a request by Kagan Klein's attorney. Klein's counsel told the court that his client is in the process of exploring other legal options. The trial is rescheduled from next month to January. Klein faces 30 charges. Police say he used the Anthony Schatz profile to obtain more than 100 sexual pictures and videos from underage girls. The profile has been tied to the investigation of murders of Abby Williams and Libby German in Delphi. Investigators say one of the victims was in contact with the account on the day that they were killed. Indiana Task Force 1 says increasing heat and humidity are slowing rescue efforts in eastern Kentucky. Heat index values hit near 100 degrees yesterday as the team searched for missing victims and helped neighbors. Since arriving, the task force says it has assessed more than 600 homes and buildings, 187 of which had major damage and 3 were destroyed. The force has also spoken with or helped 41 people. Receding floodwaters are starting to show just how much damage is left behind. We showed those images on Daybreak this morning. A small town mayor there in Kentucky compared it to a war zone. Kentucky's governor is also warning about the heat because he says rescue teams will not be deterred, though. And today, jurors will deliberate on how much InfoWars founder Alex Jones should pay parents of Sandy Hook shooting victims for claiming the shooting was a hoax. Jones was on the stand yesterday, and dishonesty was on center display. Jones had previously testified he'd never texted about the shooting, but in an apparent email mishap, Jones's attorney sent years' worth of texts to the plaintiff's attorney, Mark Bankston, texts that included exchanges about Sandy Hook. In a bombshell moment, Bankston confronted Jones with the text, who then denied any memory of it. Jones did admit, however, that the shooting did in fact happen and that he's tried to back off the hoax claims, but then blamed it on media, that the media wouldn't let it go. Families of two of the victims are asking that the jury decides in their favor to award them $150 million in compensation for defamation and emotional distress. And finally, to business headlines. U.S. gas prices have fallen for 7 straight weeks and are approaching an average price of $4 a gallon. Opus, an energy data provider, says the average cost nationwide has fallen to $4.16. That's a 17% drop from the record high in June. AAA says the current average in central Indiana is $4.03 a gallon. I did find it for $3.63 a gallon on the south side yesterday. Eli Lilly said it plans to begin commercial sales of its COVID-19 monoclonal antibody treatment to states, hospitals, and other healthcare providers this month. Previously, Lilly's treatment was just sold to the government. However, Lilly's price on the treatment is listed at $2,100 per dose. Lilly and HHS are discussing ways to ensure uninsured, low-income people can get the drug. Workers who switched jobs reaped more of a financial benefit than those who stayed with their employer. A study finds the typical job switcher from April of 2021 to March of 2022 got a pay raise of nearly 10%. On the other hand, the Pew Research Center says the typical worker who stayed saw wages fall 1.7% after inflation. And as moms and dads prepare to send their kids back to school soon, one critical item, or they already have, needs to be included on the checklist, checking out all online platforms our kids are using and starting conversations early about cyber safety. Kids and teens between the ages of 8 to 28 spend about 44 and a half hours a week in front of digital screens, according to the nonprofit Center for Parenting Education. Cyber Safety Consulting told Fox Digital that there are predators that spend a lot of hours attempting to groom children. And Oreo's pumpkin spice sandwich cookies are hitting store shelves August 15th, marking their return following a 5-year hiatus. The limited edition flavor features 2 golden Oreo cookies with a festive pumpkin spice flavored cream sandwiched in the middle. Social media reports that Starbucks will start offering its pumpkin spice latte on August 30th. The PSL will reportedly cost 80 cents more than it did last year. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.